It's an interesting sort of life lesson. The idea of like, what do you find easy that other people find difficult? Go for do that for a living. There's going to be money there. There's going to be some gold. You're going to be okay. If you find it easy and everyone else is going, that's impossible. So you're standing up in front of people being funny, I find very easy. These kind of conversations, you slightly second guess yourself.
It's what you're used to, I think. It's what you spend a lot of time becoming acclimatized to doing.
Yeah, I suppose. It's just that thing of, I've always said in comedy, people sort of talk about how many years they've been doing comedy and it seems faintly ridiculous. Kind of, it's like when you talk to an airline pilot, they've got a really good view on it. They talk about how many hours they've got in the sky. And for me, like, there's no substitute for stage time. And I'm sure for you, there's no substitute for this, for actually doing it. Everything else is kind of, it doesn't matter how many years you've had a podcast. I think something about the frequency of your show as well. It's always there. There's always something new.
You talk about the most important question to ask yourself being, what do you want?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about that an awful lot. I studied a lot of, studied and was very interested in sort of NLP. And that question of what do you want in the micro, in the macro, being the absolute key in sort of life. Because people sort of, I suppose it's that thing of going, what does something represent? Someone might say, well, I want a Ferrari. But why? If you sort of dig a little deeper, you can't just ask once, what do you want? Well, I want a Ferrari and a Rolex and all of the trappings. But actually what they want is status. So it's kind of asking yourself, what game are you going to play? I've read a lot of that René Girard stuff about sort of mimetic desires. So this idea that you've got what you really want, a fundamental level, it's about you and what you perceive you should have compared to others. So this idea of kind of being honest about what you want and why you want it. Just the words seem to be very important to me. The idea of saying you can work for anything in life to a kid, as opposed to you can have anything, is the difference between, ambition and entitlement. Summed up. There's that lovely thing you sent out the other day.
Yes.
The difference between ambition and entitlement being,
ambition is when you expect yourself to close the gap between what you have and what you want. Entitlement is when you expect others to close the gap between what you have and what you want.
Yeah, that thing of like agency seems, that's very high on my list of like getting back to what do you want? Agency. I want control to be in here. I think it's better to be a stand-up. I mean, the thing I've been thinking about recently is being stoic, doing less better. Being a stand-up is a great job. And there's so many stand-ups that get the job of being a stand-up and then they want to be an actor. And I go, you're mad. It's not as good a job. It's better to do a podcast than to have a TV show because you're in charge. Yeah. You're your own boss. You're kind of, cancel proof, not that you'd be particularly bothered about that, but the idea of going, you're in charge and you've got agency and you can do what you want.
Well, there's a
huge power to that.
There's a level of narcissism, I think, that comes with believing that you would be able to beat somebody else at them doing one thing while you're doing two things. Okay, so you think that you're going to be a better podcaster than the guy that just does a podcast, whilst trying to do a podcast and run a business and be on TV and fly around the world and do all of these different things.
It's also that thing of like going, if your aim is sort of happiness, I think having a process-driven ambition rather than an outcome-driven ambition. What do you want to do rather than what you want to be? So that idea of going, look, you do a podcast and you live for it. It seems to be pretty much all you care about and you're loving it and you kind of embody that. And it gets back to that Naval thing of like, what's play for you? What's easy for you? What's play? What's fun? No one's going to put this effort in. Look around, look at the 4K cameras or whatever. No one's putting this effort in that doesn't really care about it. So someone trying to fake it and go, well, I want what he's getting for that. I want the ad revenue. Mm-hmm. You will know that. You're playing in the wrong game.
The most important question to ask yourself is what pain are you willing to endure in your life, rather than what pleasure do you want? Because any pleasure or any pursuit that you want is going to come with an in-kind payment of pain.
What are you going to do today that you tomorrow will appreciate?
Yeah.
Because for something about a day seems about the right time frame. If it's in 6 months' time and you're trying to go to the gym and motivate yourself by, I'm going to look great in 6 months, it's like, I don't know if you're going to do that. I don't think that's a motivator because...
It's written on my fridge. What would you tomorrow want you today to do? It's written on my fridge.
It's a great... I think there's a book in that. I think genuinely, I think it's such a powerful...
You've got me writing. You have told me to write 5 different books over the last week that we've spent together.
But I like the idea of that thing of going... Because it's you listen to a podcast, but book and the course seems to be the thing that it's just a way of getting all of your thoughts on this together. I don't really mind which word you use, but envy for me is good because it tells you what you want. So if you see someone and they've got a terrific physique and you go, oh, I want to look like that guy, that tells you what you want. That's great. When you see someone with a beautiful girl and you don't want him to have it, but you don't want it, that strikes me that that's kind of bitterness and resentment, and it's mean, and it's that I think it's a Nietzsche quote, isn't it? If you resentment is when you think someone has ruined your life, and there is someone that's ruined your life. It's you.
How many shows have you done this year so far?
220, something like that.
And there's probably been about 250 to 280 days so far this year?
Yeah, something like that. But I make TV shows as well, so I keep busy. But really, if you compare it to someone with a real job, it's not that much work, because the way that I perceive it is I work for 2 hours or 4 hours a night, depending on how many shows. Yeah. And most people work 8 hours. Now, there's a bit of travel involved and stuff, but it's a pleasure. If you find something you love doing, you never work again. That's the
I suppose
adage.
If you look at, that's such a good frame to say, wow, 250 days of the year or 220 days of the year, and there's only been 280 days or whatever. Okay, well, if you were to roll that forward for any normal 9-to-5 person, that's probably the right number of days, or maybe even a little bit less. And there's something about taking a working class spit and sawdust mentality into the realm where it doesn't seem like it's supposed to be there, where you actually end up seeing disproportionate returns.
Yeah, I suppose it's that thing of like, it's really about what you're willing to put in as well. If you find something that you love doing, well, why would you want to stop doing that? Just do more of that, and you get better. It is that thing where you go, it's time in the gym. It seems that stress is very good for us in all areas. Going to the gym is stressing your body, and working and coming up with new stuff is you're stressing yourself. So that thing of like, trying new stuff at every show. It's only you saw the show the other night. It's only a 5-minute bit where I get out a bit of paper and try some new jokes. Mm-hmm. But that bit means that the next tour is very easy, because 5 minutes at every show, you sort of bank a lot of stuff, bank a lot of new ideas, and you have a reason to think about the new thing, always. You have a reason to be thinking about, okay, what's the new thing? What's a new idea for a joke? What am I going to try tonight? It's almost the perfect drug for me, stand-up comedy, because it's the dopamine hit if you don't quite know where the line is going to come, and it's the serotonin pleasure of laughter. And going out to a live show has that incredible sort of effect on people of it's a physical response. I've said it before, I think of myself as a drug dealer, but you have the drugs on you.
That's so nice.
My favorite quote of all time is William Gibson. The future is here, but it's not evenly distributed. And you think, oh, wow, like, yeah, of course.
What does that mean to you?
Well, it means that there's a utopia in the world. I'm a very positive person. I mean, I really do think the world is great and we're going to crack it. I think we may have already solved most of the problems in the world, but in just particular areas, right? So, so you go to Portugal, let's say, go to Lisbon now, and the drug laws changed 15 years ago. They legalized all drugs. Said all drugs are legal, and we're going to take all the money we were spending on fighting the war on drugs, which we're just patently losing. We're going to take all that money and we're going to spend it on rehabs, and we're going to spend it on education, and we're going to spend it on making it easier for people to make good choices. Great. And it worked. You walk around Lisbon now, one of the safest cities in Europe. It's magnificent. It's buzzing. It's fabulous. People sort of go, yeah, but drugs aren't good, and drugs are... I agree. I don't do drugs. It's not my thing. And some people have got real issues around them, but you go, but what we're doing at the moment isn't working. And that seems to work. And then you'll always have a very small percentage of people that have, real problems, and that's fine. But at least if you know those people aren't criminalized, then they don't. Most petty crime is drug related. So that's a problem that's been fixed. We could just take that. I think the energy crisis has been solved, but only on nuclear submarines. Nuclear submarines strike me as, that's there. Why is no one talking about these? People are living in tubes with a nuclear reactor, and they have been for 50 years. We've tested it, and those guys seem fine.
Self-sustaining, much worse environment than we've got up here, where we can breathe water and we don't need to recirculate the carbon dioxide.
And it's working, right? There you go. I'm with Extinction Rebellion. I think there is an environmental crisis. It's awful. But I don't think the person that solves the problem I don't think we say in 50 years' time, we came pretty close there to an environmental collapse, but thankfully someone glued themselves to the top of a car. That did it. I think it's going to be a physicist that does it, right? It's going to be a scientist that has a wonderful idea and does something. So it's that thing, if you care about that, where should you be putting your energy? And I think it comes back to where's the agency?